Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Let's start our video with the angry Karen who tried to call the cops on our OP because a hurricane ruined her private property. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Want to call the cops on me for something I didn't do? Fine. Oh, this is a good one. It was my very first encounter with a wild Karen. I remember quite a lot, but not everything, and I don't remember exactly what was said, so this won't be exactly what happened. Sorry about that. Bear with me, folks. Cast. K is Karen. Me is little old me, of course. When I was little, I liked bugs. To me, they're the cutest creatures in the world. I was digging around in a neighbor's yard. They said it was okay, when all of a sudden this lady approaches me. I, thinking she's just going to pass by me, ignore her. She gets my attention when she sees me holding and gently petting a caterpillar. Now, mind you, I'm always gentle with all creatures whenever possible, but she didn't care. She starts ranting and raving. "You're hurting that caterpillar, you little brat. Put it down and get off my property." Me. "I'm not hurting the caterpillar, and I'm not on your property, ma'am." "Yes, you are. I'm a loyal Christian, you little..." She started cussing at a 14 to 15-year-old person. At the time, I had anger problems too, though thankfully I kept my hands to myself. Violence is never the answer, friends. It's the question, and the answer is no. By this point, I was getting tired of her BS. Me. "What will it take you to go the F away?" I don't remember what happened right after that, but I do remember that a few weeks later there was a massive windstorm. A whole lot of stuff got knocked around, including some stuff in her yard. I had to walk past her house to get to and from the school bus stop, so the morning after the windstorm, she was there, holding up a small signpost that the wind must have knocked over. She gave me an evil grin. "So, you thought you could trash my yard, huh?" I didn't do that, ma'am. The wind probably did." "Liar. I'm calling the police. They'll lift fingerprints and prove that it was you." Me, thoroughly done and wanting to get home to play on my 3DS. "Yeah, you do that. Have a nice day." I never heard from her again. I don't know why she hated me so much for wanting to play with bugs. Rolls eyes. By now, I've learned to take everything in stride, so that ish don't bother me no more. She sounds like a real character, to say the least. I don't know why she hated you or tried to lie to you saying that it was her property when it wasn't. Karens are weird, I tell you. And our second story. The Karen that time forgot. This happened within the last 20 years. I worked at a restaurant that I can only describe as, well, eclectic. Quiescence was like a mix between a Mumford & Sons video and Applebee's in my aunt's house. Glass doors to get in the place, hidden on the back part of farm property, very hard to find. Imagine an unintentional speakeasy. How I got the job as Expo here is quite the story as well, but I'll stay on point. My job was basically to make sure all food that went out to guests was perfect. At this place, I did a lot of serving as well, despite never being assigned tables. When times were slower, I would entertain the staff by balancing plates, silverware, tureens while pretending to trip. I'd take my right foot mid-stride and tap the front of it to the back of my left foot, making my whole upper body lunge forward, appearing to trip. It was a crowd pleaser and important info for later. One beautiful night, a woman came in by herself, screaming of food critic, and was seated at Kara's, fairly new servers, section. I made sure all her stuff was extra on point, a little heavier on the sauce, etc. Like clockwork, the diner drops her fork. Kara was super on top of it, said, "I'll get you another one, ma'am," and went, washed her hands, and returned with a new fork. As soon as she began to place the fork down, the critic yells, "Oh my God, could you bring a fork that you haven't touched all over the place?" Kara was taken aback, as was I, closely watching a potential food critic. She came back toward me, nearly in tears, saying, "This is the 15th stupid bullcrap thing that's happened today. I'm so done." I consoled her and said, "I got this, hang tight," which was code for "check this crap out that's about to happen." I come out from behind the server station with all the flair of a campy magician, using my left hand to flail my imaginary cape off me as I tango strutted directly toward Food Critic's table, making sure she saw me, and my theatrics guaranteed she'd continue to hold my gaze. My right hand held out an extended index finger as I continued to tango towards her with a shiny new fork perfectly balanced on it. It was a longer walk than had prepared for, so I slipped coolly back into normal stride. Then I pretend to trip as the fork lunges towards her, but never leaving my finger. She flinched, shouted so bad it was comical. All I could say was, "Your fork?" as I'm choking back laughter. I quickly turned back around, flipping my imaginary cape again, and was concerned at first because all I could see was the very top of Kara's updo. Crap, she missed it? Nope, she was buckled over in tear-filled laughter. Edit. The review. Okay, so we were all positive, based on the details given in the review, that the attached review was the lady to a T, especially because of 3 things. She ordered the halibut and did complain about it, sent it back. She wore high heels and complained about the awkward walk, and it was my birthday weekend. We decided it wasn't because of she died alone, and the review said she was with her husband. I know she was alone. And our last story. Neighbor phones police because mother-in-law is parked across the road from their driveway. To summarize, my mother-in-law parked across the road from my neighbor's driveway. They started losing their minds as they believed it to be their property. This led to some shouting and, of course, a call to the boys in blue. So as you can probably guess, yes, the driveway overlords did indeed phone the police. After her threats, we waited around, waiting for my mother-in-law to be shipped away to the big house for committing the ultimate crime, parking on a public street. I know, please try to hold your judgment. However, like most close-knit streets, our other neighbors came out to see what all the fuss was about, and oh, did we get the gossip. It turns out we aren't the only people she's complained about. Social carers for the elderly, visitors for other houses, council workers, and even people who live on the street have all received notes and stern warnings from our delightful neighbors about our property. Although we were the lucky ones who finally pushed them over the edge. Well, they finally arrived. We can see their house from our window, so it was prime viewing. Milady of the driveway came running out of the house clutching a mug of what I can only guess is the tears of orphan children. They went into her house and closed the door, so we waited, praying, hoping they would come across to get our side of the story. Well, our wish was granted, but let me tell you, it was much sweeter than we could have imagined. After watching the officer poking his head out the door like a meerkat trying to figure out where the car was that was blocking the driveway, she gave him a hand and pointed to my mother-in-law's car parked across the street. This poor fella looked more confused than a drunk with a calculator. He eventually went back inside before heading over to our house, and that's where the real fun began. He came to our door and we greeted him with the customary, "Hi, what can we do for you, officer?" Here's the following conversation from what I can remember. Officer: "Good morning. We received a complaint about a car from this property blocking a driveway." Mother-in-law: "Hey there, yeah, we've been expecting you." "Are you the resident here?" "No, my son and daughter-in-law are, but it's my car that's been reported, the silver one across the street from their house." "So I'm having trouble understanding the issue. Was your car parked across their driveway?" "Nope, it's been parked in the same place since I got here." "Well, your neighbor is claiming you blocked their car in their drive and were trespassing." "Oh, we know. She's been leaving notes on my cars and others on the street. She's been claiming that entire section of the road is part of her personal driveway. You could ask the other neighbors." "What notes? Has she asked you to move?" Me: "Kind of. She told us and the rest of the neighbors that they'd try not to hit our cars." "What do you mean?" "She's been accusing us all of parking in her driveway across the street from her house on the public road. I even have a photo of where the car was parked a few hours ago." I showed him the photo, making sure to point out the time and date it was taken, and he just shook his head. He asked if there was anything else he should know before dealing with the matter. We were more than happy to fill him in on how she came to my door to stamp her feet in disapproval, throwing all the aggressively condescending "it's illegal, sweetheart" she could our way. He asked if we felt threatened. I said no, but I wasn't happy that she was yelling at me while holding my baby. He said he understood, and we encouraged him to talk to the neighbors to get a full picture of what's going on. So that's exactly what he did. And Jesus, Mary, and the wee donkey, it was all so much worse than I thought. For them. In our street, news travels fast. We're gossipy little craps. We even have our own WhatsApp group. Yeah, I know, it's kind of sad, but we're all friends. Lockdown really brought us all together. The officer did in fact make his way down the doors. They were all more than happy to grass them in after all their griping. It turned out that not only had they been harassing other people for parking near their home, but they'd also been witnessed exiting the car looking a little wobbly. Wobbly as in 3 sheets to the wind. Drunk as a fart. One can only assume this is why he needs 20 plus feet to reverse into his drive. His wife, the lady of the driveway and pain in my butt, had been spreading rumors that other people were having affairs, such as the gay teenager up the street having it on with a middle-aged mother of 3 next door to him. However, the piece de resistance was revealed to us when the officer came back to our house to wrap up. When the officer asked about our trespassing on her property, she told the police officer I trained my cat to crap in her plant pots. My huge, fluffy, and attitude-fueled kitty had been having his morning poop in her begonias. His name is Stanford, and he's renowned in our street for being a sassy little jerk, sitting on top of cars, sneaking into people's houses and sleeping on their beds, and of course, tormenting dogs. I've never been prouder of him. In the end, the officer went back to the house and from what we can tell, told her to stop being a FUD, and if they were caught drunk driving, they'd be arrested. Any more notes are coming to people's doors, and they could be charged with harassment due to the volume and nature of the events. Essentially, they were told to get a grip, and the officer went off to attend to actual crimes. Now the neighbor parks across the street from his driveway in protest, and the rest of the street accommodates by parking directly in front and behind him, as is our right by law. Get it right up, you bobbags. Beautiful. I'm glad everything worked out for you. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.